Am I audible? Just confirm in chat. Okay. So let me just share my screen. Okay. So I guess in the previous session we had created a YouTube clone, I guess, right? Okay, sorry. In the last two sessions, we just did the theory in all of those concept of about JavaScript, ES6, React fundamentals, and all those hooks and everything, right? So now we'll be seeing about the further practical thing. So we had created YouTube clone. I had already worked on some of those pages, so we will get time to enough to discuss this. Okay, so let me just open this localhost 5173. Okay. In the previous session, we had created this navigation header and these tabs, right? And then all those videos. Later on, I had also built a few other pages as well. Like I created this watch page and profile page, I guess. Yes, I created these two pages. Now to understand this, one of those things is React is SPS, single page application, right? So what happens on initial load, then React app gets loaded, and then comp page updates only in DOM, right? So if I just refresh this page, and if you see here, if I just refresh this page, and now when I click on this video, now you see only these are DOM got updated and the page won't reload here. So if I just change the page, this, and now you see the page doesn't get a reload, instead just route gets updated and the content gets updated within the DOM, right? So only the data gets changed here. If you see, this remains same, this the parent div, and only the inner div gets changed, right? So that's how it works. Only the components gets updated within your DOM and not the complete page reload. That's the benefit of the React.js. Okay, so let me just explain this code first of all, how routing works basically. So you have the main level file, the entry file, that is called root.tsx, where you define all those basically HTML layout. If you see, this is the entry point, text for default function app, and this returns outlet. Then you have an error boundary, which basically extract the error message and then display in the website if there is any error. Then we have the this function called layout, where we are just adding all those basically the layout of HTML, where we have HTML, then we have the head tag where we're defining the meta, and if we have the meta tags and all those links tag, this all this. Okay, then this is the entry point. Now in routes.ts, here is the location where we provide all those information, how we are going to define the route, layout, everything. You can also find the documentation for this in React router official documentation if you go with the docs, and then for the routing. So I guess this is mm, the framework model. I guess it would be there in this way, right? So the index route or route, we're defining all those. Like for index, which is the file location, then for route location, if there is like slash product slash ID, then for that, which location needs to be there. Same way we have defined here. If you see, we have this export default function, and then we providing that either it's a layout or it's a route or if it's an index route, right? So for this route, we have this specific layout. For this page, we have a different layout. So in that case, if you see, we have created a layout where this routes and layout.tsx, what we have defined as this header navigation, these two things are not supposed to change, right? So in that case, we have kept it in the layout. Okay. So header and navigation won't change, and only the part of outlet. Outlet is basically the page area, whatever you want to work with that. So header and navigation needs to be same in those pages, and so that we created layout for this, and then in route we are defining the routes that these are layout, and for this layout, this pages shall work. So for the home page and for the profile page, for these two routes, this layout will be used. So if I just open, this is the home page and this is the profile page. So for these two pages, if you see, the navigation doesn't change. So if I just go back to the home, this doesn't reload, only this part of the content gets reload because this is under the outlet. Okay. And then we have a watch page, which doesn't count in the layout. We have a different for watch page. We have here added the header, right? You can create multiple layouts as well if you want, according to your need. So for this, we have created this header, then we have this navigation, we have this tab based filtering, right? For all we see all those 10 videos, then we have this tab based filter. Then when you open this page, we have this watch page, similar to what YouTube has, like this video, then you have this title, all those channel information, right? So you have all this. This is like channel page where you have the multiple tabs, right? And based on the tabs, you have all those content feed. So let me just explain the code base behind this. So as you already seen about how to define a route, we have a layout. Then if you have an index route, then you can simply tell about index and the location directly. If you have a route, you can define like a route of whatever route you want, and then where does the file exist. Same way, if you have a dynamic page, so if you see, we have the same page for all those videos. I can change the video in any of those, and then it just keep different. So the id is different and the data it's different. So watching video 5, this is watching video 6, so everything is getting changed, right, based on the dynamic parameters. So for that, what we usually do, we can add like the route, and for the dynamic parameters, we just add a colon and then the parameter you want to use. Either you want to use ID or maybe you want to add something other like video ID, whatever you want to use there. So that's how you can define the dynamic page for that. And then we are using this route dot watch page. So we have this route watch page, and to extract that value, so we have this like /6/2, right? So this is a dynamic value we had defined id in route, right? So we had this id as a parameter we want to accept. So in the watch page now, we can accept const id from the use param, and use params we are imported from the react route use params in the link, right? So if I just do the console part here, so every time the page change, so if I open this, you see, this is the one. Every time I just change, this value gets updated, right? So we can get those dynamic values, page values, whatever you prefer to use, and then you can extract that from the use params. and then based on that you can do the whatever search you want or filters, whatever you action you want, you can do with that. Okay. So now let me explain the code behind this. We had already seen about we created a home page right earlier, and we had already used these tabs. Then we had already defined all those video thumbnail, etc. Now we have this link page. Suppose you need to change to a different page. You are on like home page and you want to go to a video page. So in HTML we have an A tag for that, right? And then we provide like a href, the location for that. Similar in React, there is a link component for it, and it works similar to A tag because when it comes to DOM, it actually goes like with A tag. If you see here, we have an A tag with an href value. But in React, we use link component. Under the hood, it produces basically A tag only. Okay. So basically, if you want to change between pages, in that case, we use link component. Then in href, like this, we provide the location where you want. If you want to go with the dynamic value, then you use this format, like maybe watch page, and then the ID. So maybe like you can do like this, same way what we have done here. We have link and the two location where you want to redirect them. So if you see in the suggestion what itself, it can be a string or a partial path. So you have an option, either you want to provide like direct to, or if you want with the dynamic values like path name, and if you want to have any query parameters, you can provide in search, and if you want to provide some hash value, then you can also do that. Okay. So if you want to pretty basic thing, then simply you can use link and with two attribute and pass the values like this. And of course, we use key to provide an uniqueness to the virtual DOM. And in tabs, we had already seen like we had used categories, and then we just did categories.map where if category is active or not, we are just checking that, and based on if it is active, then we are showing like BG white and text black, the alternative way to show it is an active text. So in home page, if you see there is switch to tab, and whichever is active, it just changes the color based on the conditional rendering what we are doing. So this is an example of conditional rendering. If it is an active, then show this class, and if it is not active, then show this. Right. So that's the one of the examples of the conditional rendering. And then we have the on-click function to set the active category in the parent component. Right. Then layout I have already explained. Then in profile, we have the same const videos. We have the multiple tabs there, same similar to in homepage. If I open the profile here, we have these multiple tabs here: video, shorts, playlist, and about. Right, same. We have these tabs, and we just did the same dynamic rendering thing from the array. So we just use an array tabs.map and then extracting the tab value and then simply using that. Here also we are doing the active tab thing, basically conditional rendering. If the button is active, basically then show this border value, and if not, then not. Right. Same then we have the content. If active tab is about, then show this. If not, then show the same with to video thumbnail. Then in watch page, we are extracting the dynamic ID, and then you have this header and the main pair column. We are using the YouTube embed thing, which YouTube provides itself. So you can use that to display any YouTube video in your own website. So we are using iframe and then the YouTube embed. Then we have this H1 tag to displaying about the title, video title in the videos like this, right? Then we have this profile action about the channel name, subscriber details, and then we have this like, dislike icons. Then we have the description, and then in the top right side we have the suggestion column, right? So that was the pretty basic thing which we worked on. I would be providing you this zip file. For this you can extract. Let me just create a zip file for this. Open in Finder. Just remove this. Right. Docker file is not necessary here. M3.md is not necessary. White config, yes. I guess this is enough. Compress. Okay. And I will be just sharing. Just give me a moment. In the WhatsApp group, I'm just sharing this. Content. File. Coding. Okay, so I've shared the zip file for the code. Just download that from the WhatsApp chat and try to run. Basically, just extract that, use run the command npm install in the terminal, and try to run. I'll just wait for 5 minutes for everyone to try it out. And I need a screenshot in the WhatsApp chat that you have tried the project. Even just extract it and run npm install in the terminal, and then run npm run dev to run the project. And just share me a screenshot in the chat. I need it from everyone. I'll just wait for 5 minutes. I'll just wait for 5 minutes. Everyone just try it out. Already wrote the code. I've shared it this file. Just extract it, run the command npm install, and do npm run dev. I didn't receive any screenshot yet. I guess no one wants to try. So let's move with the project. Okay. So basically, what we have explored so far is we created some of the UI, we did routing, we created layout, right? So until now, is it clear or not? Till now, is it clear or not? We can also implement the navigation headers, right? Then we will also implement the search-based filtering if you want. Then we have already explored the routing. Then there is for API calls, and based on that we can display the data. Okay, so we can use this API endpoints slash post in home.js. We can call use effect. And then we can just call the API fetch post done data sponsorization console.log data. Let me just check in the home page. So we have now the data of 100 posts, right? Now we can just set the data according to hours. So what I need is this console.log data. What I will do is const videos is equal to data.map. Now let's see what we have. So now we have based on our category, right? Category also we can do some of the random categories. Categories we have in tabs, right? So what I will just do is in home, we can just do randomly choose a category, right? So now if I just refresh, and now we have category based on the random, right? Now I can just set the data in use state. Okay, and just set this videos const results and then set videos results. Okay, I guess if I just refresh, now we have 100 videos. Okay, so now we are utilizing API endpoint to get some posts, and then we are creating our own format based on that. Like we are just getting item to title for the post, and then we are just getting user dot id based on the channel name. Okay, now if I want based on the post, I can also generating watch page as well. Let the suggestion be there. Now we can also write same use effect event here, but now I need data for a specific endpoint. So now I need just post plus ID. What's the endpoint? Let me just check. Okay, now we're getting the same thing. So we can just pass on the ID there, and then we can just use categories. So if I open now this page, and I can just set const video, set video. Okay, and then I can just for set video result, and instead of this I can just show loading bar. If video is there, then show this, else just show a loading spinner. And so now we have this pulse animation by that type. So now we have this pulse animation until the video gets loaded. And once the video is loaded, we are now using that data. Let me also update this data. Title from this, we have video dot title, channel thumbnail, video dot channel, video dot description, and we do not have the subscriber count for now, so just keep it. So now if I just refresh the page, we have this data. In the description we do not have yet, so I can just, is there any way to generate some data? If you have this item dot body, item dot body we have. So now if I just refresh, we now have this title, we have the channel name, we have this views and timing, everything, right? So now we have also now made this dynamic. We are now able to get all those content from the APIs, and once we have the data, then we are able to show. So we also now utilized the API into our front end. So now our front end back can communicate. Then we can also create some of the forms. Until now, is it clear or not? Now is it clear? Yes, until now, whatever we have seen so far, you need to try it out so that we can proceed further. I'll just explain few of the tailwind classes for now then, and then we'll be seeing in the next session until you try it out this. So let me just open the tailwind CSS website and I'll explain all the utility classes for you. Okay. So I'll just explain all of those CSS. Okay. So about the core concepts, installing the utility classes. So to design this, if you see we have MX Auto, it means to center align horizontally. Whatever the component you have, if you provide with MX Auto, it will align in the center. Then we have flex component. It means all of these children components will be in this same line. Then we have max WSM. It means the maximum width of this component will be the SM width, that is around 650, I guess. So you have this example here. They're also explaining everything. For example, in the UI above, we have used the display and padding utilities flag string 0 integer to control over the layout. For max width and margin, we are using max WSM and max MX auto to constrain the card width, center it horizontally. So they're explaining everything, and you should see about this. Now let me just go with the layout thing. So we have aspect ratio. You already seen we had used in this. So we have the available weight for this, and we do not have the exact height what we want. So in that case, what we did, whatever the available width is there, and height we can auto adjust with the aspect ratio. So what it means, aspect ratio you can provide whatever you want the customization. If you want to use expected square, which is 1:1 with then for aspect video, it is usually 16 ratio 9. And for aspect auto, you can it would auto decide based on the height and something. Then if you want the custom properties like this aspect ratio, you can provide within the brackets. Expect if there is any value, you can provide that as well. Then for columns, we have multiple columns option. Either you want 3 column, 5 columns. So based on that, you can provide column 3 access. So it will be like 3 columns. What is the 16 RAM? You can provide all those three variants you have, and the number of columns you can set, right? Then you have this break after. So it is basically about the controlling how columns should break, and you can use further break after. You have break before, break inside for display. Then you have multiple display option like inline. You have block, inline block. You can also have flex, inline flex, grade. Then you have also table. So these are the display utilities. This is for controlling the display box type of an element. Then we have float. It's basically to wrap up around the content. If you see in the books, you are generally seeing that your text is around everywhere and your images can be at any position and text gets auto adjusted. So in that case, you can use like float right, float left, based on that where you want to place the container. So use the float right to try to float an element to the right of its container, right? Then we have this clear. Basically, you can use clear left, right, start, and then basically it's for the controlling the wrap of the content around an element. Then we have this object fit. We have this multiple object classes, which is like container, cover, fill, none. So basically, of an example of object cover, if you have an image of this height, suppose that you have an image of this height, and your container is actually this height only. So this image doesn't get fit, right? So what it will do, it will auto adjust to zoom out or zoom in to adjust according to the height and width. So object cover works that way. For contain, it will contain to the height or width available. So object cover just zoom out. Object contain will adjust to the height or width according to that. object will just be stretched, and for object scale down, it will just fit to the whatever size you provide. Then we have object position. Where shall it fit? So on the top left, we see images up to this height, but it's now fitting from the object top left. Object top is from top side, from top right, left, center, everything you have all this. Then for overflow, basically, if you see, this is the container which is overflowing, right? And it's a scroll bar we have. So you can provide overflow auto, overflow clip, overflow visible, or in the which direction you want. Either it's on x-axis or y-axis. So you can all those do overflow. If you are able to see, we have this vertical scroll bar which is overflow auto based on the height it auto adjust. Then for the x auto, it means for the horizontal. Then we have this position. You have static, fixed, absolute, relative, sticky. By default, it's a relative. Then absolute means on the top, it will just go at the index. In fixed, either of its scenario, either of the position, it will just go in the top of the screen. If it's in the fixed, you see you have a static parent and absolute you get in the for the top side. Then we have top, right, bottom, left classes. In this case, basically control the placement of the positional elements. So if you see on the top left, you can align for the top, and then top right, and top, left. You can align based on that. Then there is visibility. Either it's visible or invisible or collapse. So you have all those three options here. If you see one and three is visible, two is invisible. So you can provide the visibility as well. Then you have Z index, basically at the one of the top. So if you see it is Z 0, then we have Z 30, 40, 10. Based on that, it's increasing. So one by one, it's on the top, right? So you can provide the Z index. If you have seen about the XYZ index, X is horizontal, Y is basically your vertical, and then Z is basically the depth. So basically depth you can estimate according to that. Then we have flex and grid layout. So we have basis, we have flex direction, either it's row or maybe row reversed. Then we have column, and then column reversed. Same way we have like flex wrap. So this is none of the no wrap. It is in the same line. But if you use a wrap, then in that case, it won't just go overflow. Instead, it will just come in down. So we have the flex wrap. Then we also flex grow based on this whatever to, it will fit into the available width or something. So in that case, you can use grow. Then we have also grid template columns at what number of columns you want. So in this case, it is grid columns 2 or 4. Right. In this case, we are using grid and grid calls 4. So there are 4 columns, and automatically the rows gets addition according to the content you have. Then we have this grid called subgrid to center align or placement how you want, right? Then all these are the grid columns. Then for gap, it's basically to provide the gap between either grid or the block components, whatever you have. You can provide the gap. Then justify. So you have like flex in the same direction. Then how you want to justify it. Either it is on all start, or you want to center a line, or you want to like justify between or end. So you can do all those things. Then we have align, how you want to align the content. Based on that, you can see either it's a stretch or either it's start. Start is basically all it starts from the top. Center, it's basically it will align in the center. Based on the height, whatever you have, it will just center align. Same way we have the end. Then in the spacing, you have all those padding. Based on that, you can provide P4, like it will be 16 pixel. For each value, it's 4 pixel. So P1 is 4 pixel, P4 will be 16 pixel. So based on that, you can do the padding according to whatever the direction you want. Same way with the margin. Padding is basically relative to its parent component, basically inside, and margin it would be the gap. Then we have the sizing based on what width you want, what height, all those things. Same is about the size. Then we have the typography, either it's font family, what font you want to work with. Then you have font the size. In Tailwind, we have a size in two formats, either it's numeric or it's in a fixed size. So in that case, for fixed size, you have these numeric values like 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we have predefined sizes like XS, SM, base, LG, XL. I mean, the most of the scenarios. So you have these fixed heights. You have the like font smoothing if you want. We are you usually use anti-alias for subpixel smoothing. Then you have font style, either it's italic, non-italic, bold, underline, whatever you want. You can use that. Then there is font weight, basically, either it's normal, bold, semi-bold, medium. You can do font weight for that. Then there is other font classes as well. Then we have line clamp. Basically, if you have a multiple descriptions, basically, and you want to show only two lines, then you can use line clamp two. In that case, then only two lines will be shown, and then at last there will be like this dots. Then we have line height to basically providing the height of this between each gap of line. So you can use the line height for that. Same way we have like text and decoration, either it's underline, overline. Then we have the text transformation, uppercase, lowercase. Then you have like text wrap, how you want to wrap all those text for that. We have also like text indent, text size. You can check out all those. Then we have background attachments. You can use BG URL to display all the custom images in the div. Instead of showing as an image, you can show or enter that image inside the div as well. Then you have background clip image. You can show in the BG URL. Then in the border radius, basically it's the corners radius. So we have rounded SM, MD, LG, XL based on the sizes you want. You can use that. We have the border width as well. So if you write border, by default it will be one, border two means 2 pixel, border four, then 4 pixel. In case of border, the numeric value is equal to the pixel. Whereas like for height padding, one means 4 pixel, right? Two for 8 pixel. But in border case, it will be the exact pixel size. So if you're writing border two, it means it is 2 pixel. And then you can also provide the border color. We have the border style, either it's like a border dash, dotted. There are multiple different types of border you can use. Then there is outline. If you want to have like a ring or something or outline color, you can provide. Then there is effect of box shadow. Then we have text shadow as well. We have this opacity, how much opacity if you want, opacity 75%, 50%, 25%. You can use that. We have also mask. If you want to use this, you can use mask for that. Then we have these filters like blur, brightness, contrast. You can also use that. If you see this is blur excess, then grayscale, then combine both. You can add other filters as well. Then there is brightness you can control. You can also control the contrast, hue rotate, grayscale. You can use all those filters here. Then we have also backdrop filter as well, like blur on the image on top index. You can do that. We have now the tables for the border collapse. We have border spacing, table layout, caption side. You can check out all those based on the examples here. Then we have transition animation. We have multiple like transition shadow. We can do transition all suppose like all the colors, duration, timing, everything it uses. Transition colors is usually for the colors. Or you can also use the transition opacity as well. We have a different behavior for that as well. And for the hide and fade out, we have the transition delay, how much delay you want, either it's 100 ms or 300 ms. You can decide the transition timing as well. Then you have multiple animation like spin will be on the circle around. Then you have the spin, you have pulse the animation we just work out with this is the animation pulse in, animation. Then for the transforms, we have like backface visibility. If you see, currently it's not visible, but in that case, if you are working with the cube, you can have invisibility for that as well. Then we have the perspective as well. Then you can rotate the any of the components using this. And then we have scale as well, with like zooms in or zooms out based on the scale you provide. Skew is basically the tiltness. You can tilt the component. Then we have also the transform based on that. Or if you want to use hardware acceleration, you can use with the transform GPU. If there is any heavy CSS going to load, then you can use this transform GPU, and it uses hardware acceleration. If your transition performs better when rendered by the GPU instead of CPU, you can force hardware acceleration by adding transform GPU. Then we have the transform origin. So you can see origin center, how it works, origin top left, origin top bottom. Then we have interactivity like accent color. We have appearance, carrot color. So in the input, you can control the carrot color as well. Then we have the color scheme, dark mode, light mode. You can control. You can also customize the cursor, how you want to use. If you see like cursor, then you have loading state. You have the disabled. You can customize the cursor as well. Then you have the field size. You can scale for the. Then you have all those scroll behavior, scroll snap, and scroll padding. All those. Then you have SVG for fill. Basically, it will fill all the available area. In stroke, it will add an stroke width. You can control the stroke width of us. So these are the tailwind utility classes. I guess there is nothing much to explain. By the time you start using this CSS, you will be able to learn better. Now, what you want to learn, you can just tell me. I can just explain some of those things. I guess until then, until you try this project, proceeding further won't matter much, because you need to at least learn about this routing first of all, and how it works. You need to understand. Is it clear? Is it clear, everyone? I have already shared the project which I was going to work with today. I've already coded that. I've shared the zip file with you. Just go around with that project, try to run it, and please do share a screenshot in chat that you've tried it running. Because until that, if you confirm with that, I won't know that this worked or not. How many of you installed Node.js? Please opt for poll. There are 18 students, but only 4 of them are active. Everyone, please opt for poll. Only 5 students have opted yet. What all 10 students are doing? Okay. So all those 5 students who have opted for Node.js installed, try running this project and share the screenshot that it is working or not in the WhatsApp chat. Yes, for today, that's it only to explain. It's just you have to write this code, or if you want to just use that, a project I have shared, and try to run that. There's nothing new to explain for now. Or is there any doubt you can ask? Is there any doubt you can ask? I'll just re-explain the project once so that you are aware what's going. So once you set up a weed project, the entry point for your project is inside this app dot root.tsx, where this is the origin, the entry point of your project, right? So if you see, there is a function app which returns an outlet. Then we have this function about layout, which is adding all those things, right? So now in this body, everything will be written. Then we have this routes.ts, where we are importing route config, index, route layout from the React route. Then we are defining the routes inside this. What we are defining, that there is a layout, and for layout, what we have added this layout.tsx. And then for the index route, means main entry point, we have this index route, we will be using home.tsx. Then for route profile, we'll be using route slash profile.tsx, which is this profile.tsx. And then for dynamic page, we have this watch page, basically, where we have this watch and slash this colon id, means id is our dynamic value. It will be accepting the dynamic value from the parameters. And for this, we are using this route watch page. Now in the home page, before that, layout. So in the layout, we are creating a layout which has header, navigation, and then adding outlet. Outlet means whatever the remaining area you have for the page, you can work with the page there. Okay. So we have header, navigation, and outlet. In the header, we have created this menu icon. Then we have this YouTube icon. Then we have this input and search button. And then in top right, we have this profile icon, avatar, basically. Then in navigation, we have this buttons, all those buttons we are having here. And then in home page, we have created this tabs called categories. And we are using to save here, right? Then in use effect, this is a React hook. It means on initial page load, whenever this page will be loaded or component will be loaded, the first thing will run is inside this use effect code. Okay. Then inside this, it's calling an API using fetch. We are calling this API, and then we are getting it from response.json, and then we are extracting the data. And as we have our own customization of the data, then we are just using const result equal to data.map, and then we are just mapping with the id is equal to item.id title. We are getting from the item.title for categories. We are randomly selecting these categories at a particular index, right? So from the randomly, we are getting the category. For thumbnail, we are using Pixum. Then for channel, we are just setting channel and the ID, then channel thumbnail. We are just generating a random views count. For time ago, we are also adding random counts. Then once we have all those data, we can just set it to use state, set videos, and then we'll have the data in the videos. Once videos is there, then we can simply add videos, and then we're adding filter if active div is equal to all, or then we'll have this category filter. Then we have this map. In map, we are adding a link component, and once this component will be clicked, it will be redirected to watch page with the dynamic ID value. And then we are rendering this video thumbnail based on the data. In the video thumbnail, we have created this image, then we have channel thumbnail and all this title and everything, right? Then we have this watch page, where we are doing the same thing. We are getting the data from the API. We are adding according to our own, then setting all those data to video. Here we are adding this header. Then we have this if we until the we have the data of video, Then we'll be showing this expect video and animate pulse. And once we have the video data, we can just show the video and all this information here, like dislike count, share, download, all this, and videos views, everything. Then we have the suggestions column. We are already showing all the suggestions here. Then profile, we are doing the same thing. We are showing all those videos. We are tracking the active tab, either it's videos, about section, or any other tabs. Based on that, we are just showing the banner, then channel header. We are showing all those data here. Then we are showing the tabs, and then if there is a page of about content, in that case, then show all the about data. This is conditional UI rendering. And then in the top right side, we have this sessions, right? So same thing, we're just copying paste. So this is the overall project. In the later stage, we'll be now using React query. We'll be using React query to call API calls. Now we'll be seeing about the caching and what are those things in the syllabus. Let me just check the syllabus once. And we have introduction to HTML, CSS, then advanced CSS, JavaScript fundamentals. We have intermediate JavaScript front-end frameworks, React JS, routing, state and lifecycle methods. In advanced React, we are having React hooks and context API. Okay, so we are currently having a React query and caching. We'll learn in the next session. Then we'll learn about the context, prop drilling, what's that, context API, prop drilling. Then we'll also see how to manage complex states using either Redux or recoil, just and there are multiple things. We will usually either see recoil or just and it's the most easy way to manage the Redux. So in the next session, we'll be seeing the advancement of React. We'll be seeing about React query, how we can cache, how the stale time works, then how we can manage the context in overall application. We also try to implement some kind of authentication in our app so that only users logged in into our app can use our application, right? So in the next session, we'll be doing this. For this session, this is it. If you have any questions, you can ask. Just wait for 2-3 minutes. Is there any question you can ask? If is there any doubt, if you have any questions, you can ask. I guess there is no any queries from your end. I'll take it for yes. Okay. Then in next session, we'll be seeing, we'll be using React query. We'll be doing caching. We'll be calling some API calls. We'll also learn TypeScript. We'll learn about TypeScript. We'll also see about validation and form handling. So we'll be using this form validation. We'll be using Zod and 10 stack form as well. To create forms, we'll be using 10 stack form, and to validate that, I will be using Zod. So if you just see about the basic uses of Zod, so basically we just import z from Zod, and then we just provide the z dot object or z dot array, and then we can provide the field name and what type of data we want to accept. Like for username, it's z dot string, it shall be string. For XP, we need a number, so z dot number. Now based on that, you can pass the data like this username and XP, and if it's correct, then it will be working the same way. Okay. Then you can also like define a schema based on these what are like string, number, begin, boolean, symbol, undefined, null. These are the pivot data types. You have the coerce. We have also like pass, how you want to pass that. For text tag form, this is used to create forms. So in the text tag form, there shall be some example to show. Let me just check. Okay. In example, we have this interactive sandbox. Okay. So if you are seeing this, we have just imported from 10 stack dev tools, and we have used form in the 10 stack react form. Then we have this field info where we just checking if it is touch or not and it is valid or not. So if I just click on submit, you see we are getting an error. Then once I have the data field, it's validating. And if I just click on submit, then it's worked, right? So if you see in the form, we have this form dot field name, a first name, invalidators. We are just checking how to validate this. Same way in the last name, we are adding input and label. And if you want, you can do the validation based on that. This sort. So in the next session, we'll be seeing TypeScript, then form handling, then validation, React query caching, then context API, and we'll also see about just and to manage the context in overall application. So although earlier it was very popular using Redux, but then there came recoil and then there came just and. These are the two which is most efficient way to manage the context in overall application. This just and recoil. Recoil is similarly to managing like use state. So if you want something like a state management like use state, then you can use recoil. And if you want a lightweight, then in that case you can use just and to manage all those context. Right. So we'll be seeing all those options. So in example, I can just show you. So this is how we provide the selectors and in guides or basic tutorials, recoil tutorials. I guess there should be some example. There isn't any example. Docs getting started. Okay. Non-change we have, and then character. Yes, here you can see a const count. We can use recoil value, and then you can provide the state. You can create that, and you can create function like key, and you can provide the functions like get and create whatever functions you want, and the actions based on that, right? And so recoil is similarly to what we write use state. They have developed in that way, and we have also just stand. So these are the two ways you can manage the context in overall application. We'll be seeing all those. Okay, so that's it for today's session. In the next session, we'll be implementing all those features. Thank you, everyone.